Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of our wonderful time in studio with Roy Gregory here at That Checks Out with Ted and Damon and Brian at Audiohive Podcast Studio. We're going to get right back into our wonderful conversation with Roy Gregory.
So I got a question. Do you have a little more time to hang with us?
Oh, yeah.
Can we do some... we normally like to do some strange stories where we'll read I'll read a strange story headline and then we'll go a little bit into the story. And I'd like to get your take on some of this stuff. So I got some weird ones today.
Wait, hold on. Let's go into strange stories.
Go ahead.
It's Strange Stories with Damon and Ted.
That's one of our listeners sent that into us.
I think it keeps going.
How long is it playing
I don't
for,
know,
Brian?
but it's got a very long... Well, you're supposed to be
wave
talking.
file.
This is
Oh,
the bed.
this
that
is
you're
where I
supposed to be
talk?
talking over.
Well,
yeah.
here's the thing. Brian did not tell us he changed the box. So I
Yeah,
didn't know
because
if
the
there was
box
gonna be more
before was
stuff.
just the strange stories.
There used to be 2 buttons.
Yeah, so way to throw it off.
And since it said mix, I thought there might be more.
I hope
in there,
you're doing
Brian.
your own production because just so you know, beautiful studio, wonderful stuff. It's Mac I have a problem with. So just so you're aware. Okay.
Oh.
So
I have 2 problems in the studio. Mac's only one of them.
Mac's only one of them.
Yeah.
He's probably side-eyeing you right now, and I can't see it because he's behind
he's
the monitor.
asleep over there. His forehead is paying attention. That's all I care about.
All right, so this is the first story. You ready? Spanish drug smugglers build submarine out of plywood.
I see a problem.
Okay? The submarine could carry 2.2 tons of cargo.
Wait, were they trying to get drugs in, or were they just trying to get ashes on a Lambeau field?
First,
Because one of those might have worked.
right, throw it over the fence.
Just explode.
So it could hold 2.2 tons of cargo or $500 million worth of cocaine. All right. Now, here's the funny part. Police found that plywood submersible, which I don't know that that's a real word you can use with plywood, submersible, before it even launched on its maiden voyage. My first take is that they did this on purpose, like take your time.
Well, to be fair, I think they just found a pile of plywood. I don't think they knew it was a submersible.
Well, they follow the truck from Home Depot driving deep in the woods. They're like, this is a weird place for delivery, you know?
I would hope with that much cargo at stake, I would hope they tested these floating.
So
If you got that much
Potential.
coke, you can't afford like at least PVC or something.
So
something.
It says they build it out of plywood. Now they do. They coat it with fiberglass then. Okay. So fiberglass, it's submersible, but also fiberglass, just like any recreational boat made of fiberglass, it's very easily broken.
Yeah, it's
you know what
brittle.
I mean? It's brittle. So, and especially I got to think if you're doing it in the backwoods of like, you know, Colombia, it's probably not the best coat of fiberglass you could get, you know? But they discovered this thing. It is 30 feet long and 10 feet wide. It had 200 horsepower engines on it that they run from inside. Okay. And this is where I like the word they use. They said it's built like an iceberg. Okay. First off, anybody see a failure here? You know, but it's built like an iceberg where basically like a barge, it's all submerged except the very top. That would actually be, if someone was out fishing or there was a boat, they'd be able to see the vessel so they wouldn't like plow through it. So to me, what are you really hiding? You could just go get a boat.
If I see an iceberg in the Gulf of Mexico, I'm not thinking suspicious at all.
There are no suspicions there whatsoever.
No. Oh, the climate change is happening, eh?
So I
That's
watched
what's going on.
when I was watching Narco Wars. That's one of the shows I watched on TV. I was watching that, and I powered
your
through that.
research disturbs me. Like
But what's weird is they show these guys that run these submarines. Now this one wasn't made out of plywood, but they run these submarines. They have these engines with exhaust, right? They're inside. Their exhaust is going nowhere because they're basically submerged. So they're in there and they're holding like a mask over their mouth like this, and you can't, you know, and it's like, how does that save your life from all the carbon monoxide and everything else coming from that engine? You know, it's exhaust. So, but what's
can we get you one of these?
Yeah.
I'm willing to let you test it.
I bought you a submarine.
You seem very curious about it. I'm willing to let you test.
But to put a whole crew, which a crew now is 3 people, it said in this thing they have 3 portholes in the side and one side, only in one side, and that's so they could see where they're going. How would you see where you're going out of 3 portholes that are in this side? Is there anything in front of us? I just see out the side, sir. It looks clear. I mean, this makes no sense.
Oh, they just stick their head out. You know, like a dog with the window down.
I can just see me. I'm so anal about stuff. What do you do? He opened the window. He's trying to clean the outside. There's a smudge, you know. But $500 million worth of cocaine. So when that doesn't make it to its destination, you better hope you're dead with it, I'm guessing. you know?
Well, it sounds like everything they've done has led to that conclusion anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, in this case, I really think these guys wised up. They're like, look, the cartel's going to kill us. So let's take our time building this wooden barge. You know what I mean? And let's let the cops figure out where we're at.
Well, now they're just going to go throw half of it on the America practice field and then let Roy distract the Border Patrol while they sneak the rest of it in.
Yeah, Roy, I just see
We figured out the plan now.
Roy is at the Border Patrol. He's like, all right, listen, don't look over there.
Yeah.
Listen. I got him 10 feet from the ocean. You guys go now. Now.
Wearing his I'm not a drug smuggler t-shirt.
You would do that at least,
But
right?
to be fair,
Yes.
I do go to Iowa, and I do have a shirt that says, it's got the Illinois I behind it, and it says, just say no. Friends don't let friends go to Iowa. So I've been in your situation. I've been a pilgrim in an unholy land myself.
Can you see the Border Patrol, though, when they get asked later on how that got in? They're like, the guy gave us all you can eat shrimp. We had to peel them.
Yeah.
We knew there was stuff going on, but we weren't done.
And here's a picture of the sub here.
Yeah.
Well,
Isn't that interesting?
That literally looks like a parade float.
Yeah.
You're right, though. How do you know where you're going when you just have those three
Your
on the
windows
side?
are on the side. I mean,
Hey, I don't know where we're going, but I know what we just passed. Yeah.
I see land. I don't know what's in front of us.
The back looks like someone's pool deck.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a diving board off the back? That's nice. Is that HVAC hood? Is that part of it?
Well, that might be for the fresh air.
Yeah.
That might be for the fresh air.
That's the part that's the iceberg
I was going to say,
part.
they said part of it comes up out of the water. And so probably on top of the water, that might look like a little boat, but all the cargo is below it.
I don't know. It literally looks like from the top of it, looks like some sort of strip mall is coming toward us. I don't know what's going on, but there's a submerged strip mall. I can see their HVAC coming right at
Here
us.
comes a Sbarro.
Yeah. A sub-barrow?
A Sbarro. But yeah, so basically, it reminds me of those, is it Red Bull that does the cardboard thing?
Yeah.
Where people have to
Where they
build
dive
boats?
into the thing, yeah.
Where they dive in and then has to stay floating.
Yeah.
I think it's out of cardboard, right?
I'm not you act to be like I'm the expert on
No,
that.
Is it out of wood?
SIU, Southern Illinois and Carbondale has the cardboard boat regatta.
Really?
And you have to make vessels. It's for the engineering department. They're supposed to be making vessels out of cardboard. It happens every year. And they have a thing where they have a start and finish line, and you have to stay afloat from start to finish, and whoever crosses gets some, I don't even know.
One-man
the prize.
vessel, or how many vessels?
When did they start this? Because my dad
long
dad
ago.
also went to SIU, and this is the first I'm hearing of it.
Oh, gosh.
And I am upset.
No, a long time ago. Certainly back in the 80s, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Clearly,
Okay.
my dad was not down there then. but-
Okay. Just checking.
But it's a big event.
Yeah.
I mean, Google that. The cardboard boat regatta SIU.
Really?
Man said
one.
Google that, sir.
Yes.
It should already be on the screen.
Mac, that didn't come from me, so I'm sure you're probably doing it.
I can't remember if it's single people or if there's like two
two?
people.
I would need a baler. I need somebody with a bucket.
It seems like there's more than one, if I remember right. If
Oh, yeah, it started in 1974, so that would be just after
Oh yeah,
my
there's
dad
there's
left.
plenty of people in them boats.
One of them's in Naperville.
Yeah, and they the other thing too is some of these people get like really creative, but it's not the creative ones that usually win. It's the ones that are just well thought out because it is cardboard that
Right.
you're using. So
Yeah.
it's pretty fascinating. I attended several of those cardboard boat regattas at Carbondale.
Those also probably come with pregame refreshments, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah,
I figured so.
anything in Carbondale had refreshments.
Yeah.
involved.
Isn't that the old? They're the professionals, right? That's the David Letterman. That's the David Letterman cue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry,
Oh,
Southern.
yeah. My dad was super proud of going
Yeah,
there.
sorry, Southern. We don't rate professionals. Yeah. So yeah, those I would
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, look, there's the bat boat was at SIU.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. And so some are creative, but I'm thinking that they probably didn't hold up very well. They look cool.
No, most of them. As soon as you started, everybody was sinking. But well, these are engineering students, so you think there are some brain cells still working.
Explain that to Damon better, because every boat he's ever been in, regardless of the material.
Yeah.
Is this made out of cardboard? Nope, you're just fat.
Yeah. This is a pontoon boat. Could you please get off of it? I don't understand the science behind this.
This substrate should be floating right now, sir.
Hey, so the next headline is Chinese zoo visitors find Rottweiler posing as a wolf.
Well, we had a rat posing as a cat. Why can't a Rottweiler pose as the wolf?
So basically, the wolf in this, they had one wolf And it was
they had zero
It was a
wolves.
Rottweiler who conveniently brought a stick up to the edge of the thing and was like, interacting with a Mr. Zhu, XU is his name. And so he took a video of it and posted it and said, "Is this a wolf?" First off, I like to think you know what a wolf is. Okay.
I mean, if it was like a husky or like one of those, I would be like, okay, I could see.
That was somebody's comment. Somebody said, at least put a husky in there.
Right.
The Rottweiler was used for security to make sure people who, weren't coming in the park and not paying. I don't know how that works. So you have the Rottweiler as a bouncer. I would think after hours maybe, but they said there's a real problem.
He's just trying to make a decent living. Why you gotta shame him like that?
So he's in this enclosure. The zoo says we had a wolf, but he died of old age. That was the zoo's response. So they didn't do anything about like, hey, let's go get another wolf.
And then you find a bear named Old Age somewhere.
So, but this guy posted this, and there was their only response was, yeah, well, we had one, but he died. So people are going to this zoo and seeing like, and again, I know it's not a Billy over there, but whatever his name is, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I was like, where are we going? Oh, all right,
Bruce, because there's a Bruce Lee. So Bruce, right? What?
Nothing.
Are we timestamping this? I can say Bruce.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Okay. So
At
Bruce.
least you're not doing it in a voice like last time.
Yeah. Oh, hey, if I got a good Spanish story, I got a good accent I could use for you. Spanish parrot.
Ted
I'll
and
use it
Roy
later.
would like to disavow any voice coming out of Damon's that is not his own.
Roy's like, this chair has wheels. He's going towards the door.
That's why we put you on the door side.
We didn't want you to have to commit too much. We put you by the door. But yeah, basically, that's the picture he took. And the dog walks up and
is that a wolf?
It's holding a stick. And he says, is that a wolf? So anyway, the zoo says that they haven't been making money lately, which I understand, with the pandemic and everything else.
They got a Rottweiler posing as a wolf. You can see why.
They're not spending any money lately either.
Well, we had an elephant, but it died too. So
It's just a horse with a sock in its face. I don't think that's what you think it is.
I need you to shave that bear cub. We're out of penguins. What do you do?
They just fatten up some robins.
We need them to waddle, tie their ankles together.
That's terrible.
So now they're petitioning that the zoo change their sign to just say Canine Expo instead of wolf. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rottweiler in the wolf enclosure, and just the zoo's like, hey, look at the wolf. And the guy's like,
have you never seen a wolf? I guess it'll work, right?
Yeah.
Well, many little kids are probably like, Mom, Billy's dad's got 3 wolves at his house. I can't believe this guy.
Even that dog is like, yeah, I'm not having this.
You know what's weird though is like
You're married?
yeah, that's weird too.
Yeah.
But the dog's probably just like, this is great, and everybody else is like, this sucks, and from the dog's perspective, it's like, look at all this attention I'm getting.
Yeah.
This is
the dog
wonderful.
loves it, sure.
Why won't anybody pet me?
Sure.
Because you're in a cage and you're supposed to be a wolf,
I don't know if people are sticking their hands through a cage to pet a Rottweiler either. So I think that part at least plays.
So maybe you'll like this one. It seems like you haven't liked either two of these, Ted. So
I didn't say I didn't like them. I'm just saying, like,
okay. This one, right.
I'm finding flaws
You
in
get
the
a little
slaw,
mileage
that's
out of this one. This huge pile of pennies was unexpected. What this story breaks down to is a gentleman left the place he was working. The owner, who was pissed off about it, owed him money and wasn't going to pay him until he called, not the Better Business Bureau, but called, like the state or whatever, and they had to pay him. So he owed him $915. He paid it all in pennies and dropped it in his driveway. It was said it was 500 pounds of pennies. Now, the guy's confused as to how he's supposed to cash in pennies. I don't understand that because I would think you could still cash in pennies at any bank. Here's
False.
the kicker. Is it false, really? You can't cash in pennies?
Yeah, they don't have change counters anymore.
No, but I mean, you can roll them up, though. You'd have to roll them up yourself. I mean, you got a project.
Yeah, you do have to roll them up.
Jewel, there was a Jewel by me that had a change machine.
Yeah.
You could just
There was
drop it in.
Coinstar or
and
something,
they-
right?
just take them to Coinstar.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm going to be needing this for 4 weeks. I need you to back off.
Hey, you know the best part, though, for the Coinstar? Is these have an oily substance on them, and they all have to be washed before they can be taken to a Coinstar. So this ex-employer went this crazy and said, I'm going to pay. Now, I watched my dad. I think I talked about this before. My dad, when I was younger, had a family business, and he did some repairs for a guy. And it was a buddy of his. And his buddy paid him in nickels just to be an ass. And it was hysterical. So he had it looks like when you're robbing a bank, you got the money bags, and he walks up and he slams down two things of nickels on there, which at the time was no big deal. You go back to the bank, you cash it in, but he caused him to have another step. So it was hysterical. But he didn't pour oil all over him. He didn't make them to where you can't turn them in. I mean, this was like a pretty devious, thought out. I really admire the guy that went to all the trouble to do this, because there's a lot of thought behind that. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Unrelated note, Brian, where do you want the bags of nickels?
Brian, unrelated note, you're going to get paid on time this week, but it's going to be hell to cash.
Yeah, you're going to get paid early. But do you just want them over here in the corner? Because it's a couple bags.
It reminds me of a Carol McGowan story. My longtime radio partner, Carol, worked at a bank when she was in high school and just out of high school. And she was at the teller window. And she said, and I used to remind her of this all the time, because Carol has this weird, she hates feet. She just hates feet. So
my wife's the same way.
If you start talking about feet, she cringes and
just talking about it. She don't have to see them.
Yeah.
So she's working as a teller. Maybe this is where it started. She's working at a teller at this bank, and a guy comes through the drive-through window, and he takes his ashtray, and it's full of change. And he said, "Hey, can you run this through the coin machine? I need to get money for this." So she dumps it in the coin machine, and she said, all the coins start going down. She said, floating at the top are toenail clippings.
Oh, no.
At
the bank?
She gagged. She almost threw up at the bank because the toenail clippings were coming to the top and all the coins were going down. And so I used to always tell her, I said, "Carol, any toenail clippings in your future?" And
really?
Yeah.
She's like, "Please let this guy have big hands. Please let this guy have big hands."
I guess the weird thing that I could never get past was how you're cutting your toes in your car.
Yeah. First
how
off,
they end up in the ashtray.
Hey, kudos to you. Listen, as a big guy, cutting my toes in the wide open space
is hard.
Not fun.
You don't cut your own toenails. Don't give me that. I'm not buying it. Where did this guy get those pennies, though? Where did he get the pennies to give?
That was my other thought. That was my other thought, because this is recent, so I don't know.
I mean, I can come up with maybe 100 pennies if you gave me a day or two, but I couldn't come up with buckets of pennies.
Yeah, 500 pounds of pennies. So I couldn't imagine, though, throwing that through. Man, see, I would have put toenail clippings in with the oil. That would have been
I would
great.
say the other day, my wife was like, "Hey, my friend's trying to they have the presidential, the state pennies and the national park pennies." She's like, "My friend's trying to collect these for something, I think, her kid or whatever. Do you have any quarters?" And I went out and got this jar of quarters. She get "Where'd you get those?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." However, when I put these back, you don't follow me.
My wife
These are
calls
my running away quarters. You leave me alone.
She calls them Aldi shopping carts. She goes, "What are you doing with all these Aldi shopping carts in your?" I'm like, "If I go and pay cash somewhere and they hand me back change, I just put it in the ashtray or in the cup holder." Now there's no ashtrays in cars anymore. Remember when there used to be ashtrays in the back of the seats, so people in the back seat could have a smoke too?
Don't say people, so the kids could have a smoke.
Yeah, so the kids.
Come on.
So the kids that were sleeping in the back window could light up a Marlboro.
I used to stand up in the car.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I can't wear the seatbelt. It doesn't go around me while I'm standing. What are you nuts?
Yeah, that doesn't seem like.
However, cars were, built out of solid steel and, 700 feet long back then.
Well, you had the window well in the back, and I remember being a cat, crawling up in the window well on a road trip, and you'd be sitting up there.
Yeah.
You had to plow through 7 miles of trunk before you got to the
Then they slam
back
on the
seat.
brakes, and you get the roll down and the back of the seats real hard, and you're like, "Whoa!" And then first thing you do, climb right back up in the window, because we weren't quick
In our
learners.
defense, those seatbelts were all made out of steel and 1,000 degrees in the summer, so you didn't want to.
Oh yeah, remember that? You'd put it, or you'd sit down on one in the back of your leg. You're like, "Oh yeah."
This is the old men shaking fists at clouds portion of the show.
Yeah, no, but that's legit. That's legit stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have no idea. I bet you, if you went and got in some of these cars, you take kids and get them in a 74 Cadillac or something, and they look in the back of the front seat, the seat that'll fold up or whatever, and they look, and there's an ashtray in there. Like, what's this? Well, you used to be encouraged to
If
smoke
you got
in
them
cars.
in a Buick Regal, they wouldn't even be able to open that door.
Yeah. My kids did
that. It's 3 times longer than a door we have now, and solid. It is I can't hold.
I had hand crank windows on one of my work cars a couple years ago.
For those of you not watching this podcast, as in all of you, Damon is now
I'm
hand cranking.
I'm hand cranking a window. Okay, virtually. Everybody enjoy. Hear it. Okay, but so my kids are like, "How do we get the windows down?" I go, use the lever. And like, "There's no button." I said, "I didn't say button. I said, the crank. Use the crank." "What do you mean?" I literally had to stop the car, go over, open the door, and show them how it works, which I'm doing again.
Either that, or your kids are smarter than you think. What do you mean I have to use the lever? I don't get it. because you had to stop the car and come over and do it. And
They're telling
like,
their buddies when you get in Dad's car, just pretend like you don't know how the windows work. He'll put it down
dumbass
for you.
dad will roll down the window if you tell him you don't know how it works.
He will stop. Why don't you tell him in front of a McDonald's? And we can say, hey, as long as we're here, let's get some ice cream. You know,
Those would be smart kids. Well, I was getting kind of hungry because I'm Damon. So
I hear they have birthday cake here. Yeah, I'm gonna have some birthday cake. We talked about that too. McDonald's birthday. Remember when they used to do McDonald's birthdays? Or did you ever have a
like
McDonald's?
deer in headlights? No, I don't.
No, no, never did a McDonald's birthday.
Oh man, then you weren't living. Your whole shrimp story holds no weight to me now. I have one more. I'm very timid to go into this one. I don't want to.
Now I'm curious because you.
All right, tell you what, I'm gonna give you.
You've said a lot of stuff so far.
No. I'm gonna give you. Well, we have a guest today, so I'm gonna give you the title, and you tell me if you're interested.
You're making me feel really great.
I saved it for last because it interests me the most. But it's endangered lizard penis is sold as Himalayan miracle root.
Yep.
We're going in?
Nope. Should have gone with your gut on that.
What do you think, Roy?
I think that's a story that you could get in a lot of trouble for.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Should have gone with your gut when you were like, I'm timid about this one.
Oh man. All right. I really thought that I had something.
I'm hoping that you Googled that and you put it in your phone.
Yeah. I'm on a watch list now.
Now it's in your search history, yes.
I'm on a watch list now. So,
Excuse me, Jeff Bezos Luther.
Yeah.
He's in this building right now. Come get him.
we did talk though. I get outsmarted by my kids all the time. And you said Peyton's what now, 18?
Yes.
So, I mean, I know you've seen and done a lot of stuff, and Ted's done a lot of stuff. I'll get tricked by my kids into doing something, and then I realized like they just played me. And I did the same thing when I was younger, but I never realized it. Does that stuff happen to you all the time too, or no?
Yeah, here and there.
Yeah. You like she gets her way, or because the boys are what, 22, 23?
Boys are 24.
24.
Yeah.
Man. Now, you had one in the military.
One's in the Air Force, and actually, this is interesting. The other one, he's in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay. Yeah.
And my other son moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So they're not like real far apart. It's a 7.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
So actually, they're visiting each other this weekend.
So here's my question to you then. Are those places you visited when they were younger? Or are these just places they ended up like through the Air Force? He ended up there and said he likes it?
The Air Force doesn't usually give you too many choices.
Right.
The thing about Cheyenne, Wyoming, back to our RV real quick.
That's what I figured. I was
When
like,
we did
had to
our
be there.
way out west trip and we were going to Yellowstone, on the way I wanted to go to Devil's Tower, which was in the is E.T. movie.
Okay.
Okay, so it's that kind of rock that has the it has the scratch marks in it.
By the way,
so
for those of you at home, Roy's not rolling windows, but he is doing the scratch thing.
doing
So
the scratch
Ted,
thing.
I feel
you
better.
could point out everybody's faults, Ted.
He was in radio for 40 years. I feel better when he does it because he knows when it makes sense.
Actually, it was Close Encounters, not E.T. It was Close Encounters.
Okay,
So
that
it's
makes
the
more
rock
sense.
from Close Encounters.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I'll never forget. We had turned off the exit and we were just about to go, and the RV started sputtering. So we got about 2 miles down the road, and it didn't look like we were going to make it. So I turned around and we stopped. The RV stopped.
Right.
We couldn't go. So we waited about a half hour. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I had no idea. But just having it cool down, we got it started up again. And we ended up going back to the Cheyenne Walmart, which has like... it has a Western theme at the top of the Walmart. It's not just Walmart. It's got like horses, and
Really?
the guy's got a lasso and the whole thing.
On the store?
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember this very well because we stayed at that Walmart for 3 days. It turned out being a fuel pump, and you had to order it, and it had to be sent. And if you own an RV, you know this, that Sam Walton was a huge camper. He was a huge camping fan. And if you ever go to a Walmart, look in the outside of the parking lot, and there's always an RV or two in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, you're
Reason
right.
being is, and I learned this as an RVer, if you're traveling on the road and you need to stop, he always invited RVs to go to the end of the parking lot, and you could stay there overnight.
Really?
Now, they weren't ready for a family with 3 of us playing bags for 3 days and being in their parking lot. We're drinking, playing bags, and because there's nothing you can do. I mean,
Right.
that's your transportation. So
Right.
Little did he know that Cheyenne Walmart, which he now sees frequently from the Air Force Base, that was where we broke down for 3 days
Really?
and spent 3 days of our vacation in the Cheyenne Walmart parking lot.
You see him smiling in the corner, throwing bags to no one. Memories. Just remembering.
Yeah, he goes out, sets his bags up in the parking lot. Where's your camper?
See, I would have wished we'd done that because we did the Western travel. We went to South Dakota and then down to the Grand Canyon, the Petrified Forest, Painted Desert. We went to California to visit family. We went to Oklahoma. We spent some Branson money on the way back.
Yeah.
We did all of this in a 1986 Astrovan.
Ooh.
There are no ovens in the back.
Yeah.
You can't play video games.
Yeah.
I would have much preferred
And
to
how
do that.
long
in
was
RV.
that vacation?
4 weeks.
I was going to say, because you would definitely, ours, we did it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we
And you
didn't-
lost 3 days of it in a
We
in a
didn't go
parking
all the
lot.
way to California. We stopped
Yeah.
after Yellowstone. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park and then
Yeah.
circled back.
My parents were both teachers in Wilmington. So in the summer, they'd like to get out just so they would have time like away from, the schools and the parents. And
Well, even the grocery store.
oh yeah,
They're-
my mom would send my dad to some like, hey, we're out of this. I'm making dinner. Go to the store. And
Yeah.
he lived a block from the store. And 4 hours later, he'd come back because he saw Johnny's mom in aisle 1 and Timmy's dad in aisle 2, and they would just talk his ear off. And my dad was Garth Brooks level, where he was not enough of a jerk to say to anyone, hey, my wife's going to murder me if I don't get home. He would just keep talking until they were done.
Yeah.
And then get murdered when he got home.
Yeah. So you went 2 weeks. You had 4. I know you went a little farther west, but you had 4 weeks. So I keep telling my wife, we want to do something like that, and we want to go and see and I
If
think
you feel like you never
gonna
have to come back, I support it.
I stand by. I stand by that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that 6 years feels really long right now.
Yeah. 6 years, you say, huh? You can't move any sooner.
Yeah, Florida
Okay.
said they're looking for you now. So if you want to go.
Florida called. Are you busy?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have to wait for my daughter to get out of school. I feel like it's really hard to move them when they're in school, So granted, she's not in high school yet, but my son starts high school this year. He has a lot of friends that he plays sports with already. You don't want to move, But we pay an ungodly amount of taxes where we're at. And I don't know if that's because we're right over the Grundy County line or wherever, but I mean, I pay, 'cause I wasn't far
Are
up
you
the
in
road.
Grundy or in Will?
I'm in Grundy.
Oh.
But I'm not far. I'm like 100 yards into Grundy. But I for some reason, I pay seriously like almost $7,000 a year for 2,300 square feet. I mean, it's crazy.
This took a weird, entertaining turn.
No, but I'm just saying. And so for me though, I can't see taking the kids away from their lifestyle. You know what I mean? Even though my daughter, she goes, Dad, let's go now. She goes, when Chuck graduates, we can go. I'm like, you'll be going into your junior year. That's a lot.
Well, we did it in the summertime. I mean, it
Yeah.
was always done in the summertime, and you had to do it away from baseball season because the boys were always playing baseball,
Right.
so you had to wait. So this was always done in July.
Yeah.
July 4th was like the timeline. That's when all the tournaments, the all-star tournaments would be, happening, and then it was always right after July 4th. So we always
Right.
did it in July, beginning of August, right
Yeah.
before school started. So
Yeah. Well, and that's at least, if you have the time, that's the one thing, like we said, we figure we need about 3 weeks, which is right in the middle of where you both said you were. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's probably an okay number, but we want to take one route out and come down and come back another route and just see stuff. But that's that's a lot of time to be away from home and then come back home and get back in your routine. That's got to be hard. I mean, as a kid, you probably didn't realize
I didn't even
right?
notice it. But yeah,
as a kid.
As an adult, I'll get home from vacation and be like, and I could use another vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how we usually do. So we are getting ready. I'm going to spend some time with my wife. The cabin that sponsored us, Misty Creek Memories.
Hey, that's really great. Do you ever do that, Roy, when you're on the radio? Just be like, hey, that place that gave us the sponsorship.
But
What's the name?
Misty Creek, or Mountain Creek Memories.
There you
sorry.
go. Get the name
Mountain
wrong.
Creek
Get the
Memories.
name wrong, too.
Yeah. So anyway, when you stay at the wrong place, you're going to have a great time. No, but Mountain Creek Memories, we're going to go there in Tennessee, and we're going to stay down there for probably 4 days, 5 days. But this will be the first time I go where it's just going to be me and my wife, which will be neat. And it will be more on the relaxing level because we're Disney people. So we go to Disney and you're running. Oh, it's time to eat because we got a reservation, and then we got to be back over here because we got a fast pass. And I love it and I wouldn't change it, but I don't know what it's like to just be like, what do you mean we don't have a schedule? We can have dinner whenever we want. We can just walk around and look in shops. And, I'm one of those guys. I can literally just people watch and look at stuff, and take stuff in, and I'm fine for the day. I really don't care. I don't have a beach body. I don't need to be anywhere where there's a beach,
I mean, it's 6 to 1 because we go to places and we've never been there before, and I want to see a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like a set, like I have to be here for dinner because there's a reservation,
Right.
but there's 90 things I want to see and I have time to see 60. Like it's it's tough, and sometimes I do rush too much because I've also been in the airport where my work will call me and be like, "Yeah, remember you were coming back and you had a plan? Well, we need you here instead." Like I've had those calls while I'm in the airport, like, "Hey, you're almost done with vacation, right?" And my first response is, "But I'm not."
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you want to call me tomorrow at 9 a.m.,
So close.
we can have this conversation.
Almost. Yeah. You said almost. You had the right word.
There was one time I was in the Baltimore airport, and then 12 hours later I was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I was like, "Ooh, I overshot that."
You seen a pattern here? He likes Iowa.
I do not. I was so upset. So upset.
We went to Iowa once, Roy. Once.
And that's usually enough. For
It was-
most
it
people.
was. It
For
was. It's
the
now
average
dead to me.
person, that is enough.
Again, if work didn't tell me to go there, I would never go into that state again.
Iowa is the land of the biggest everything. So it's like, this is the biggest bowl, and this is the biggest this.
We saw the biggest gnome. We saw the biggest frying pan.
Yeah.
We saw eyeglasses that were big. That was a sad story, though.
Well,
You turned it into something gross.
Yeah, I turn it into Harry Carey's birthplace when it's really Buddy Holly's crash site, you know, and the people that were coming out were they weren't really amused.
I don't remember what else
but
we saw.
whatever.
It was.
But no, we just well,
I mean, for the entire car ride, I
stop.
saw the biggest dumbass in Iowa.
Yeah, slightly to the left. but no, that's why I said for me now it's more about, can I make some memories and just, you know, and do that and kind of slow things down. So I'm looking very forward to it. I'll miss the kids for the first couple days, and then I'll be like, okay, this is kind of peaceful, you know. So, but like I said, I really look forward to it. And at the same time, I look forward to taking that trip sometime going out west. I've always gone east. The farthest west was Iowa.
That's sad.
That's it.
Wow.
Seriously, I've gone north. I've gone all the way to Canada.
You did jump over the Mississippi to go to St. Louis with your wife once.
Yes, yeah, but that's still kind of south. I mean, it's west, but it's south. You know, so
I think
I'm sorry, I didn't know you can
I
go
think
two directions at
I think
once.
everybody should see Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Zion National Park, Yellowstone. I've never been. You were talking about the redwoods. I've never been to Sequoia National Park.
Yeah.
I always heard that like Glacier National Park up in Montana is a must, but I've never been there. But I will just tell you that Grand Canyon is amazing. Zion is amazing. Yellowstone's amazing. Those ones that I went to, everybody should see because you can't even explain how cool that is in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the other thing that was amazing with the RV is there's so many. The U.S. is so different. No matter where you go, there's so many different parts to see.
Yeah.
And you could spend a lifetime traveling this country and never be disappointed. There's so much to see.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's what I like is the intake, the memories. You're just seeing different stuff, taking it in, processing it, and you remember that stuff. And it's weird when it comes out. You know, it's like you said, you told some stories earlier today. Like I didn't even think about it till right now. So I do have one question for you. We have to talk about before we're done because you've met some stars, some big stars. Do you have any contact? Do you know where I'm going here?
No.
Do you know where I'm going here?
I'm gonna take a break.
Do you have any contact with Tony Danza? You ever met Tony Danza? Stop laughing, Mac. You're supposed to be sleeping. Do you know Tony Danza?
No.
You know anybody that knows Tony Danza?
Contact with Tony Danza.
Do you think Garth knows Tony Danza?
Probably.
Okay. Do you ever talk to Garth anymore?
Not recently.
Okay.
No.
All right. If you do, can I get your word that you'll ask him about Tony Danza for me?
And what am I supposed to ask him?
Whenever you talk to him. So if you just happen to talk to Garth.
No, I think he wants to know what.
Oh, I want you to know if he knows Tony Danza. And then what I'll do is I'll give you some of my cards. You could pass along to Garth to give to Tony Danza.
Okay.
I mean, you could
Okay.
just throw it in the trash right here. You don't have to. That seems like a long way.
Damon, I have a great idea for you.
Yeah.
This might fulfill a fantasy knowing that on the other side you could achieve this. Even if your life for some reason never brings you closer to Tony Danza.
Yeah.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Here's what you should do. You should have an account set off to the side. Find out what his appearance fee is.
Yeah.
And at your funeral,
Yeah.
have Nicole, have your wife hire Tony Danza to come to your wake and your funeral.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to go, wow, what's Tony Danza doing here? Say, oh, he was a big fan of Damon's.
You know what?
And you could use that money and you could fulfill knowing on the other side that you could have Tony Danza at your funeral.
See,
Do you know what I like about that? Tony Danza's turning, what, 70?
Yeah.
Is that Roy knows that you're going to have a grabber.
Before
You're going to have a heart attack.
Tony
and be
Danza
dead
is going to
before-
outlive.
Yeah.
And then I like the fact that he's like, have Nicole. First off, who says Nicole doesn't go first? All right. She's living with this. All right. Let's be honest. Okay. Let's just be honest here. I like your train
I think
of
if
thought.
Nicole goes first, it'll be because she chose to.
Think of the conversation you'd have at your wake. Is that Tony Danza? What's Tony Danza doing here?
Why is Damon in a hefty sack? Well, Tony Danza costs a little bit more than we expected.
Turned out Tony Danza and coffin money are equal. So.
Yeah, because you wouldn't fit in a
And
Ziploc.
Roy's just holding the Ziploc
I was
bag.
like, you're not fitting in a Ziploc bag. That's why I went with hefty.
It's a cinch sack.
Wasn't he cremated? Yeah, no, it's sad. Still filled up a hefty bag.
Still filled up a bag. What was he wearing? Nothing. Nothing. That's not even a snowsuit.
He died. He had a grabber at that all-you-can-eat shrimp restaurant. So there's a little extra to burn.
He saw a rat.
There was a little extra to burn. That's how it was.
Oh, man, I really appreciate you coming in.
This
Seriously,
has been
dude.
fun. Thank you
This
very
has
much.
been fun. We took way more of your time. We're probably going to break this up and do it over 2 weeks because it's a long time. But you're welcome back anytime. So
You've never welcomed me back, Roy. So we'll see how that plays.
I don't know how you survived 4 weeks in an Astro van and you still talk to your family.
Yeah. Well,
but
you're making an assumption there.
But
sir.
how old were you? Were you a teenager yet, or were you still
I think it was
right around there?
Either
Because
junior high somewhere.
you're right. And in a van like that with family as a teenager.
Oh, you could be ready to kill somebody after 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and they didn't have video games on their phone and everything. I mean, we didn't have that.
I
stuff.
had to read a book, sir.
I can't read in a moving vehicle. There's no way I could do that.
Wait. Half of that sentence was unnecessary.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where the vehicle is, Damon. You can't read. So
You didn't need the rest of that sentence.
that was a rhetorical statement. Is that a real thing? Rhetorical statement?
Yeah.
Nice. I knew the word rhetorical. I have that. See, I learn stuff, Roy. Sometimes I'm smarter than I look. Luckily, I don't look very smart.
That's not hard.
I don't look very smart.
Yeah,
so
that
I'm
wasn't
okay.
very hard.
I look like a freaking idiot, so I understand.
Well, it's a pleasure, guys. Anytime. Hopefully we didn't get too off on certain tangents.
there's nothing.
There is no
Yeah.
two off. And again, we want to say roygregory.com.
Yeah.
Okay, we definitely go there, check it out, and then you're going to be recording. Well, you recorded last Saturday too, right? So you're going to be recording more podcasts.
One a week. I have a surprise reunion guest next weekend. We're going to be recording It won't be the next podcast, so in 2 podcasts, but something that hasn't happened for a year, so that'll be nice.
Really,
A reunion guest.
nice. I have a guest, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
Yes.
But I have a guest,
So that'll be kind of nice. And we talk about. I talk about different things. It just depends. This week probably frustration being a Bears fan. And don't.
Do you
think,
take calls? Can I call in?
Yeah. don't think that. The Bears are putting this out there so they don't look even more stupid than they are. This thing about Russell Wilson, that was never going to happen.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, that was never going to happen. They're doing that just to give us some kind of carrots. But you went from Russell Wilson to Andy Dalton.
Right.
The Red Rifle, whatever they call him. Look how great he did for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they had to win I think they had to win 2 out of their last 5 games, and they lost every single one.
Oh,
Yeah.
he played for the Cowboys? I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Well, he tried.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a disaster again. The Bears are going to be a disaster. And the weird thing too is Mitch Trubisky. Did you see what his contract was?
Yeah.
He signed for like $2.5 million.
Yeah.
And Andy Dalton was what, $10 million?
10, which is 7 more than we probably
Andy
could have got
Dalton
him for.
and Mitch Trubisky are the same people. Why didn't you just sign Trubisky back and save yourself $7.5 million?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
because
ridiculous.
they want to cut a DB then and then tell their star defensive tackle he can go seek a trade. That's why.
Yeah, well, they've already replaced Kyle Fuller.
Yeah, I saw that. And
Desmond Trufant is a good player. At least he was, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, he's a good player. Well, they're looking at Galladay too, and he's never healthy. So I mean, they're like, we can put him with Robinson. He's got to stay on the field.
So we might be talking about Bears frustration this week and how I still think I won't give it away, but I think there is a way for the Bears to save face still. Right now, they could still save face, and it doesn't involve Russell Wilson, and it doesn't involve Deshaun Watson, because those are pipe dreams. They're not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I have an idea.
Nice.
Now, the Bears aren't that smart, so it's not going to happen.
Right.
But there is a solution, and they're actually looking at someone in the 2nd or 3rd round that actually could develop into somebody. But I mean, this is the Bears.
Well, you got to have a coaching staff that can, and it's that same thing. And then I forgot. I did want to say my son Chuck's going to play football this year, and I do coach. I'm super excited. This is the last year for he's in high school, but you do have to have you have to have coaches in place to teach. And with the Bears, they don't have somebody that can develop a quarterback. They don't have somebody. I'm going to tell you right now, Trubisky, I didn't really care for him as a Bears quarterback, but I know he wasn't used right. But the fact of the matter is now he's going to be somewhere where he's playing behind Josh Allen, who has a very similar skill set and is much better than him. Don't get me wrong, but he can get coached into being something, And if he has to go in the game, they got a pretty good team around him.
He's probably never going to see the field.
No, but if something stupid happens, because Allen does scramble this and that. I mean, you're a concussion away from playing for a game or two. So in the day and age we live in. So like I said, I really thought he was going to be New England's quarterback, and I thought we were going to be talking a total different story when they signed Cam Newton. I went, okay, Mitch ain't going there then. But I really thought that's where it was going, and I thought we're going to be reading about this, going, look what we could have done if we had coaches in place.
Yeah, the Bears, there is one thing left that they could do that I think would save them, but they're the Bears, and it's not going to happen.
You're going to tell me, or you're saving it for your podcast?
I think we're going to save it for the podcast.
Save it for your podcast.
Yeah.
So you got to check it out on roygregory.com.
And I'm not talking about pipe dream stuff, so it's not like Russell Wilson,
it's a tangible
or
asset. You're saying
Deshaun Watson. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They could pay this Wilson $7 million, and I'll be just as good.
Yeah. I will take an L out of my last name because he's Wilson with 2 L's. So I
will gladly be just as crappy as everyone else they have. Sure. Not a problem.
There was a story actually that came out today that was they didn't even make a ploy for Russell Wilson. That it was
I think it was more media driven.
Set up.
It was
They just said to save face. And would that surprise you?
No,
of course not.
And like I said, I've had nothing but good experiences when I've been at that ballpark, at the stadium there. I love it. I've met the McCaskey family several times. George McCaskey goes out of his way to come out and talk to us at Family Day and this and that. I mean, he's a great person. I just don't think they have the people in place to make the decisions, to put the people. It's a management and upper office people.
If you go to roygregory.com, there's a podcast that talks specifically about that. As long as Ted Phillips, an accountant, is your number one football guy, they're never going to succeed, ever.
No, all they're going to do is make numbers.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He is an accountant.
Yeah.
And until they put a football person at the top and then trickle down, they're never going to do it. I mean, they might win, like they did a couple years ago, 12 games here and there, but this isn't going to be a team that makes the playoffs every year. It's just not going to happen.
And they're in a division that's very winnable.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, they're not in the NFC East, but they're in a division that's pretty winnable, So Aaron Rodgers got a couple more years probably.
I don't know, man. Look at Tom Brady.
Yeah, I don't think he's Tom Brady though. I hate to have that in the same conversation. Hey Ted, since we've talked football, how you feel over there?
I'm fine. I got to take a break. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm well rested, ready to go.
I started the car. I scraped the windows. Yeah. So, but no, thank you very much, Roy, for coming in today. Again, roygregory.com. Check them out. Listen to all this stuff. And again, as you get stuff up, are you going to go on different platforms, different medias, or what are you going to do? Like, are you going to be on iTunes and on everything like that, or what are you thinking as far as hosting?
Probably at some point. I mean, I have my YouTube channel, and like I say, the website is where everything is.
Central
being hosted right now.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping to stay doing what I love in this business, but it's a weird time right now.
Yeah.
Nobody has the money to hire. Most of it is the other way. They're letting people go. So I'm not sure what it is yet, but I got a long way to go yet.
Yeah, but life is improv. So if you just go with the flow and and you're all good, So, hey, Mac, you still awake over there?
Yep.
All right, we're going to finish up. Are you okay?
Yep.
Man, this has been the best episode for Mac. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think he's gotten well. I mean,
he's got well rested.
He was here early, so he probably took a really long nap.
He shut his mic off when he was snoring. Yeah, it's pretty solid. So, but no, thank you very much, sir. Ted, where can people find us?
You can find us at thatchecksout.net. You can find us online on most of the socials at That Checks Out WTT, which Damon likes to remind me stands for With Damon and Ted. Tell us what you like. Tell us, have a conversation. We want to make a community out of this. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're talking about. I got to redo this. This sucks. This is terrible. Well, no, we're not. We're going to leave it in there because Damon hates me. He wants me to look bad. But do not forget to check out our great guest we had this week at roygregory.com. Let him know what you thought. We want other people to come in and say hi to us, too. We'll talk to you about that next time. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just rambling at this point. And it's weird.